Good morning, good afternoon, this evening, good evening. A warm welcome and thanks to all the people who are seeing us through the social media. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. This is Ferran Cobertera, manager of the volunteering plan in the Spanish Red Cross, and I would like to focus these few minutes that will be together with all of you to talk with two people who are developing their volunteer activity in the framework of the appeal of the Spanish Red Cross, Cruz Roja Responde, or Spanish Red Cross Response, which is at the end about how the Spanish Red Cross is trying to organize its contribution to the reduction of the effects of the pandemic. And before giving the floor to Ana and Octavio, the two volunteers of the Spanish Red Cross who are together with me, I would like to say that this appeal launched by the Spanish Red Cross is trying to adapt our regular services to these difficult moments, which are happening, at least in Spain and in many other countries. And how do we adopt new measures, and how do we better support public authorities? And how do we ensure the continuity of the response that we have to deliver to the most vulnerable people, as later Octavio and Ana will explain. And at the end, we do this through what we call the knowledge areas or knowledge intervention areas, which are mainly health, relief, social inclusion, education, employment, environment, different areas in which what we try, for example, in the area of health, is to provide information to more than 700,000 people about the prevention, about the community containment measures against COVID-19, or about monitoring bio measures for more than 10,000 people, and this all is being done by Spanish Red Cross volunteers. In terms of relief, to have available capacities in terms of ambulances transport, temporary health facilities, psychosocial teams, or shelter for homeless people for confinement purposes. Again, this being mainly done by volunteers of the Spanish Red Cross. In the area of social inclusion, coverage of basic needs to more than 25,000 families. These are important times because people have problems in terms of how to get food, how to get hygiene kits, medical devices, or how to pay the supplies of their homes. This is the reason why in the area of social inclusion, for example, we are developing or delivering services to more than 200,000 people. Another example, in the area of education, more than 3,000 children receiving school support in the Red Cross Youth, or courses, online training courses like the COVID-19 course, where we are trying that more than 250,000 people is attending this training course. Or also, for example, considering the situation that we have in front of us in terms of unemployment. In the area of employment, it's important about also to talk or to work with people, providing information about active employment search or job guidance, training sessions, and this is done with more than 13,000 people. And at the end, for example, to promote good practices in energy consumption, develop campaign of good practices at our homes in the area of environment. These are different examples that we try to develop in the framework of this appeal Red Cross response. As I was saying at the beginning, these are just numbers and examples, but we have living examples with us, which are Octavio and Ana. Today, I would like to say that Octavio and Ana represent more than two volunteers that are a part of the more than 31,000 volunteers that have been mobilized in the context of this appeal. And first, I would like to introduce you, Octavio, if you allow me. As far as I know, Octavio joined the Spanish Red Cross 20 years ago, in 2000, when he was a 13-year-old teenager in the Red Cross Youth. He's currently volunteering in Madrid, in the Spanish capital city, coordinating the Red Cross operations in residences for elderly people, if I'm not wrong. He's also the Red Cross focal point in Madrid that links our intervention in these residences with the public administrations. Hi, Octavio. How are you?
Hello, everybody. How are you?
And then Anna, I would like also to introduce you, Anna. Anna is volunteering in Barcelona, in the Barcelona Red Cross branch since 2 months ago, February 2020. And in the framework of the Red Cross Response Appeal and Operations, she's coordinating the contact center. Contact center currently makes phone calls to all our users to identify incidences or needs. Hi, Anna. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm very good, thank you.
Let's start, for example, first of all, by Octavio. Octavio, would you mind explaining a bit more what do you do in the current circumstances?
Well, now we are taking care for all the people. You know, the most important for us for Spanish Red Cross is the safety of these people and all the public in general. And for us, it's very grateful to can we do this in this moment in this strange circumstances. For us, it's very important. And yeah, that is our of all goals. You know, for us, it's very important, and it's very grateful to can be do this in this moment.
And Anna, what do you?
Well,
How would you mind to explain more in detail what type of activities do you do in the current situation?
yeah, so definitely I'm coordinating and volunteering in the contact center here in the assembly in Barcelona. So basically what the contact center is it's a series of volunteers. We're constantly calling all of the users, all of the Red Cross users, and we're calling them and we're trying to reach out to them to see if they have any needs these days, if they have any incidents. We're It's a very important task actually because currently there's a lot of people in Barcelona and the entirety of Spain who are facing really hard situations because of this crisis. We have to keep in mind that we're living a health crisis, but at the same time, it comes with an economical and a social crisis. So there's a lot of families going through really hard times, and we're trying to reach out to them, and we call them, and we see, for example, if they have enough food, or if they have incomes in, like if they keep having income in their homes, or if they can pay the rent or electricity, or if they're having good conditions to live in their homes these days. So basically, we contact them, we detect if there's an incident, and then we follow. We make a follow up. We keep track on those people. We contact them again, and we try to give solution to
Okay.
their situation.
Okay. Before continuing, I would like to thank all the viewers watching. As far as I know, we have people viewing us from Pakistan, Colombia, Ireland, Bangladesh, Canada, Algeria, Brazil, the USA, Norway, Kenya, Tunis, Tanzania, United Arab Emirates, Canada, Somalia, Syria, Turkey, Cameroon, Ethiopia, and of course our friends here at home in Spain. So for all the listeners or viewers, if you have any questions, just let us know. For Anna, I'm going to start now for a question for Anna. Considering that you are volunteering since 2 months ago, how does a day of a volunteer look like in your case?
So in my case, I come here to the assembly of Red Cross Assembly in Barcelona. I come to the main building, and then we have a set of computers with a lot of volunteers. There's around 15 to 20 volunteers per day, and basically we start calling all of the users of the province of Barcelona, which is a lot of people. We start calling them, and we keep calling them for about 2 or 3 hours. And that when I started about a month ago, I was the one calling, and I was the one talking with the people. We started calling old people, and we were mainly giving them information because most of them were really anxious. They were really afraid. They wanted to know what was going on. So we were giving them information. We were seeing if they had someone to go buy food for them because they can't go out in the street. It's really dangerous for them because they're people at risk. But because those calls went really well, we reactivated the contact center again, And now we're contacting all the users in the province of Barcelona. And what I'm basically doing now is coordinating another team of volunteers, giving support, seeing if they're giving the right answer, and we're trying to, give solutions to people's problems. Maybe distributing food in their homes, or reaching out to social services so they can get the aid that the government has put for people at risk.
Very interesting, because you have started like making these phone calls, and then you are now coordinating the people making these phone calls.
Exactly.
And Octavio, in your case, how is your day volunteering? Because probably both of you have different responsibilities out of the Spanish Red Cross.
Yeah.
How is your life in the Spanish Red Cross as a volunteer?
Well, it's a little bit different that day of volunteer look like.
Why?
It's for me. I'm arrived very very early in the morning because I need prepare a lot of ambulance and a lot of different type of materials of what we are using all the day. I coordinate a little group of more than 70 volunteers all the week, and that is sometimes hard, but it's so grateful. I told you, I'm arrived in the very early in the morning, and I'm take care for all my team, for all the volunteers, and try to make this situation more happiness. Not like the situation sometimes is very sad, but then try to do some funny things, and but always try to make more. And first of all, we prepare the ambulance, all the materials, and I'm organizing the schedule of the day. We go to the nursery houses, to the older nursery houses, with the doctors and nurses. We make a lot of different activities with the directors and all the personnel of these places. We try at the end to make to control the pandemic, to control the coronavirus in these places. I told you, it's sometimes very hard, but at the end of the day, I'm so glad to stay here and to make this hard work. It's very very nice, and the people, the volunteers of my team are very 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 great people, very young, but very professionals, and I'm so glad to work of this type of people.
Yeah, because both of you, as far as I understand, are talking about hard situations, but also about grateful situations. I would like to ask you, what kind of challenges do you face from your different perspectives? Starting by you, for example, now, Octavio, what type of challenges do you face in your daily volunteer activity?
Well, the first of all, sometimes we need more hours at the day. We need more time. We need, I don't know who can explain you. And we try to do a lot of things, different things at the same time, but I can't. I need 40 hours at the day.
So we have to mend the
for me sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for me is
the time.
Sorry. Yeah.
And in your case, Anna, what type of challenges do you face?
For me, well, because we're directly calling people and we're calling people that are in very vulnerable situations, I think it's really hard to, when you call someone, you have no idea what situation they're going to be in, and you have absolutely no idea what to expect. Maybe it's a family that really doesn't have any needs and they're perfectly okay, and that makes me really happy, honestly, when someone tells me that. But there's a lot of times when people do have a lot of problems, and we're there to help them. That's why we're reaching out. But sometimes we don't know, maybe their situation is so complex and they have so many issues and so many problems we have to address, and obviously we address them. But sometimes when you're calling, it's hard to to be able to give a proper response, because maybe it's a situation that is not even like a solution hasn't been proposed from the institution. And I think also emotionally it's a bit shocking,
Yeah.
facing those situations. There's a lot of times where people are completely desperate, and but they're really grateful that we're calling them, because sometimes they don't even know who to reach out. So the fact that someone calls them, at least is like the first step to start solving that situation, whatever it is that it's happening.
Yeah, because this is other of the questions that it's in my mind. Do you have direct contact with volunteers, and in some cases you also have direct contact with users, beneficiaries, elderly people, different beneficiaries of the Spanish Red Cross. What kind of feedback do you receive from people you help or volunteers you work with help?
Well, in my case, people are really glad that we're calling, because you need to understand, we're not only calling members of Red Cross, we're calling all the users that we have in our database, which means that anyone that at some point was in contact with Red Cross, doesn't matter if it was like 20 years ago, we still have their contact. And maybe that person hasn't reached out to Red Cross in those 20 years, and now we're just calling them and we're checking how they're doing. And sometimes they're surprised and they're like, why is Red Cross calling me? But at the same time, it's like a way out. It's someone asking you if you have one problem, and if you do have a problem, well, it's easier access. Sometimes there's people, these days the social numbers, social service numbers are collapsed, because there's so many people requiring help these days. And so someone asking you how you're doing really helps a lot. Also for old people these days, they're feeling really lonely with not being able to have their families visiting. And so yeah, I've had people even telling me, like, referring to Red Cross, they told me, thank you for existing,
Yes.
Yeah. So it was, yeah. It's
Yes. And in your case, Octavio, what type of feedback do you receive? I know that you are coordinating, but probably it's a difficult question for you. But I think that you also have direct contact for people. So what kind of feedback do you get?
I am in direct contact sometimes with the directors of these nursery houses, and the feedback for these older people, it's a smile. For me, it's super important, and only one word for me, it's the most important: thank you. It's the most for me, it's the most important word. Thank you, and it's a real thank you. It's a
Sincere,
yeah. It's a thank you. And also inclusive the government, the people of the government, a lot of different administrations. The army here in Spain are working very close for us, and all the people is thank you for 16. Thank you for stay here with me, with my family. Thank you for take care of my dad or my grandparent or wherever. It's also my team, the volunteer. It's thank you. For me, it's the most important. Thank you. Yeah.
I have a question from one of our viewers asking what about our mental health during these times, and I would say about, for example, in your case, about how do you protect yourselves in terms of, or your teams in terms of mental health or mental well-being. Starting, for example, Anna.
So for me, well, I think what really helps is writing. Whenever it is that I get home, I'm coming, because when you're calling, you're constantly calling. Like, you call one person and then the call has finished, and then you're calling another person, and we're trying to reach out as many people as we can And sometimes it's a bit overwhelming. So when I come home, I try to process all the emotions that I'm feeling and all the thoughts that I had while talking with those people, while seeing those realities, and I think writing helps a lot because it also helps me relate it to a broader context, to really try to understand what's happening right now and why is this happening, and most importantly, why is it that these people are living in such precarious situations? Like what had to happen so that these people had to be in those situations, So I think it helps me kind of put all of that into words. So yeah, for me, writing is a good way out.
It's
Okay, so Octavio?
interesting for me.
In your case,
I talk a lot with my friends. I will be turn crazy at all my friends. I have very good friends, and also the music for me. The
music.
music. Yeah, I come to the office to our headquarters with the music very loud in the car. Yeah, the music, and talk with my friends, with all these things, different things, my feelings. But the music, I don't know why. For me, it's super helpful. The music, yeah.
Perfect. And we
A
have
lot of
say
type of
go-
music, but yeah, the music.
the music. Perfect.
Yeah.
I see another question from Kenneth asking, can we increase the number of volunteers during these times? What do you think, Anna?
So actually, yes. Actually, here in the province of Barcelona, we started doing something that I think it hasn't been done before, and it is that during these days of quarantine, they were astonished. Like there was such a big number of citizens from Barcelona offering their help to the Red Cross. We actually had around 700 people contacting and being like, "Can I help in any way?" And the Red Cross, seeing that, they were like, well, if so many people want to help, maybe we can introduce them and they can help in somehow. The thing is that the process of turning a volunteer is long and it requires a lot of procedures. So what we did is, for example, the team of volunteers that I'm coordinating, they're not actual volunteers. They are citizens from Barcelona that they come to the Barcelona Assembly. We teach them how to call. So I teach them what is the discourse we're giving, how should they address the call they're having, and then they are the ones who are contacting besides the other volunteers that we already have. And I think that first of all, it's really good because we have way more people collaborating, and second of all, it also helps a lot for those people. I think it's very important that the society in general sees those realities. I think it's important that they are aware that people still live in such in such situations, and that it's an issue that has to be addressed. And I think it's good that that they can have a one-on-one conversation with someone through the phone, and they explain them what is their situation and what are they going through, and they help. Being from Red Cross, we can help them, and also just seeing that this is a reality, and it's important that we collectively give a solution to this.
Yeah, that's right. And the question from Kenneth that I see that is mainly focused to Octavio. Octavio was saying, I wish we could invent the 40 hours, the day of 40 hours. And Octavio, Kenneth, is it possible to increase the capacity of volunteers in your case, Octavio?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we have a lot of requirement of new volunteers, but it's different because we need some studies in some of the teams. We need doctors and nurses and paramedics, and sometimes it's difficult to find this kind of request, but not in this occasion. It's crazy. A lot of people they want to help, and it for us is wonderful. We have a lot of requests all the day from volunteers. I want to be a volunteer of a Spanish Red Cross. I want to be there. I need help. I want to help at all these people, and they know very well it. Or in my case, my the job of my team is very hard. It's mentally very hard, but we have it's for us it's amazing. It's amazing. We have a lot of volunteer requests every day. A lot of doctors, nurses, paramedics. It's for me it's spectacular. It's heartbreaking, you know. For me it's wonderful. But yeah, it's a lot. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about solidarity and about the fantastic thing of being a human being expressing solidarity. We have also a question from Khalid on LinkedIn about safety for volunteers. He is asking, how can we ensure safety for the frontline health workers during COVID-19? Octavio, do you want to start? How do we work on this in the terms of safety of our volunteers?
Yeah. Well, we have a spectacular safety things and a spectacular equipment. We have practically the same equipment that the nuclear issues. You know, we have we don't have. Sorry, we have an very important equipment, face mask, face shield, and gloves, and for us it's very important that the first of all for Spanish Red Cross is the safety of our volunteers, of our teams. And yes, we have we have practically the same equipment that the army.
Yep.
You know, it's the first of all in my opinion is the security of the safety of our teams. We have practically the same equipment for the firefighters and the army.
Ana,
Yeah.
and in Barcelona, in your case?
Well, here, because we're working in offices,
that's
we
different.
don't need such like professional suits.
Yeah.
But so all volunteers do have gloves and face masks. We have disinfectants, and we have a lot of procedures. I think more important than masks and gloves,
the procedure.
Is the procedure, and it's having a really clear idea of how can we get the virus. Because gloves and masks are not the only thing that protect. So, for example, we have separated the spaces, and no one can access that space if it's not 1 or 2 meters apart. And for example, if I use a computer, the next person that comes, they have to disinfect it always. 100% of the time. Even if someone just touches my laptop for a bit, then I'm going to disinfect it, or they're going to disinfect it immediately after. So yeah, the most important thing we have here are the procedures, and everyone follows them. And also when we do the calls, I think that's one of the most important things that we address as well. We give information to people on how can they actually protect themselves, and how can they be safe.
So, Ana and Octavio and Ana, I only can give you my admiration, my profound admiration to what you are doing, both of you. Unfortunately, we ran out of time, but thank you so much to all the people who joined us on today's Red Talk. We will now finish here. But if you speak Spanish, join us to keep the conversation going now in the Facebook page on the Spanish Red Cross. So thank you so much, Ana, Octavio, and all the people who are listening and viewing us. Bye and thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Take care.